Day is a motion on urgent need to curb the rising number of out-of-school children in Nigeria, standing the names of Honorable Akinwunmi, Nurudeen Olaitan, and one other honorable member. Honorable Olaitan is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Akinwunmi Nurudeen Olaitan, and my co-mover is Honorable Abdurrahim Olajide Jimoh, though the surname is missing from there, so it's important because it's the surname for me to correct that. My motion is on urgent need to curb the rising number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. The House notes that according to reports, Nigeria is one of the 10 countries in the world where majority of children are deprived access to education. Also notes that according to BBC News of 25th of July 2017, Nigeria has an estimated 10.5 million children who are out of school. Concerned that cultural factors, insurgency in the northeastern part of Nigeria, recent herdsmen/farmers clashes, and inadequate provision for public-funded schools in general are the major factors responsible for the incidence of children not being in school. Also concerned that this problem has increased crime rate, worsened the economy, and exacerbate security issues. Worried that the unprecedented level of insecurity in the country has further increased the rate of out-of-school children whose future is jeopardized, thus making them vulnerable as they become targets of militia groups and insurgents. Cognizant that provision of adequate funding for education will result in ensuring a more secured country and improved economy, the House resolves to 1. Urge the federal government to invest more in teachers' training, improve on student-teacher ratio, and prioritize education in budgets. 2. Mandate the Committee on Basic Education and Services to investigate the matter with a view to recommending lasting solutions to the problem of out-of-school children and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Magbila.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, Mark Tese Igbila, representing Gwe East, Gwe West Federal Constituency of Benue State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Honorable Olaitan, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Right Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, the issue of out-of-school children is a global phenomenon. In other words, it's a worldwide thing. UNESCO Institute for Statistics in 2014 quoted the number of children that are out of school in the world to be well over 50 million children. Out of this, over 2/3 are from the sub-Saharan Africa, from the West Asia, and from South Asia. If such a huge number of children who are supposed to be in school are out of school, you don't need to ask why we have massive incidents of violence in the world, because these kids are their prime, and so they must utilize their energy. The energy that should have been utilized productively will then be utilized elsewhere. If it is frightening that we have over 50 million children in the world out of school, then it is more frightening that Nigeria has the highest number of children that are out of school. And I'm quoting the authority that should know, and that is UNESCO. Nigeria has about 10.5 million children out of school, and that is great. and it is unfortunate. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, out of this figure, 60% are girls, that is, are female. And who are the constituents of this figure, this 10.5 million? We have, they said we have al-majuri children, we have social miscreants, we have children of nomadic pastoralists, we have children living with disability who cannot go to school, we have children who have been displaced recently by insurgency. And then some of the reasons that are given for this huge problem that we have in Nigeria are low perceptions of the value of education for girls, early marriage, the conflict in the Northeast, poor quality of education, and poor funding of education in Nigeria. Of course, the efforts of government should be noted, and that is why we have what we call Universal Basic Education Program that has actually reduced to some extent the problem. Government today says that we have a figure of about 8.6 million instead of 10.5, but that is still not enough. It's still a far cry, because if you have 8.6 million children out of school, you know what it is. Though there has been a slight increase in enrollment in primary school, but attendance is still low. We still need to do more. UNICEF is also assisting in ensuring that we have access to that more children have access to quality education. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, no nation can attain economic buoyancy, economic growth, without sound, inclusive, and functional education. And of course, you know that functional education is sine qua non to a secured and stable polity. So if we want to address sufficiently and comprehensively the security challenges that we have in Nigeria, then we must ensure that more of our children go to school. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, when the education activist Malala visited Nigeria in 2017, she actually called for a state of emergency in education in Nigeria. We must act fast. We cannot continue to allow the future, the present of our children to be left in jeopardy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.